Hi there, Carolyn Tiger here with today's 5-minute fix, and today we are talking about some tips for healthy boundaries so you can get them in place, recognize when you need them, all that good stuff. I'm going to share with you a little quote from I'm taking all of this from Carl Benedict and an article that he wrote about healthy boundaries, and I've used this in many of the things that I've done over the years, and so I think it's going to be very helpful. And this is what he says. Learning to set healthy boundaries can feel uncomfortable or even scary at first because it may go against the grain of the survival skills we learned as a child. This process of growth takes time, and our motto should always be progress, not perfection. Yeah, it's a life skill. It's a lifetime skill. And boundaries are essential for our survival and our happiness and our well-being. And we need that in our relationships. Our relationships require healthy boundaries in order to have healthy relationships. So tip number 1, when you feel anger or resentment or find yourself whining or complaining, you probably need to set a boundary. It's a big red flag. Something's out of whack. Someone has stepped on your toes and you have allowed them to do so. So that's tip number 1, recognizing when a boundary needs to be set. Tip number 2, when you identify the need to set a boundary, like we just talked about, do it clearly, preferably without anger, and in as few words as possible. Don't justify or apologize for or rationalize the boundary you are setting. Don't argue. Just set the boundary calmly, firmly, clearly, and respectfully. And that's the thing. Boundaries are our way of letting other people know how to treat us. And our boundaries are set by our values. And so it's okay to set boundaries. It's not only okay, it's essential. And setting it clearly, simply, and don't apologize for it. Tip number 2. Number 3, you can't set a boundary and take care of someone else's feelings at the same time. Did you hear that? You cannot set a boundary and take care of someone else's feelings at the same time. You are not responsible for the other person's reaction to the boundary that you are setting. You are only responsible for communicating your boundary in a respectful manner. If others get upset with you, it's their problem, not yours. You stick to what's true for you. You live your life on your terms. And you don't have to be rude or mean about it. You be kind and loving, but firm. Okay, number 4. At first, you may feel selfish, guilty, or embarrassed when you set a boundary. Do it anyway. And tell yourself you have the right to take care of yourself. Setting boundaries takes practice and determination. Don't let anxiety or low self-esteem or self-worth prevent you from taking care of yourself. That's one of the keys. When I work with my clients and setting boundaries, self-worth is one of the biggest things we need to work on, because we don't recognize that we are of such great value that we deserve to have boundaries. We deserve to have our values respected. We deserve to be treated in the way that we desire. And it's okay. It's not only okay, it's our divine right. And so don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty that you're telling people no or that they're not allowed to treat you in that way. It's empowering when you start to do that. All right. Number 5. When you set your boundaries, you might be tested. You're going to be tested, especially by those who are accustomed to controlling you or abusing you or manipulating you. Plan on it, expect it, but be firm. People, if you start setting boundaries and you haven't had any, yes, people who have been walking all over you are going to test those boundaries. Be prepared. Remember, your behavior must match your boundaries. So when you set a boundary, you have to act on that in the way that you want it to be. You cannot establish a clear boundary successfully if you send a mixed message by apologizing for doing so. So, oh, well, I'm so sorry that it hurts your feelings and I don't really want to do that, but it just doesn't make me feel good to you know, I've just set this boundary now that I don't allow people to just tell me what to do anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. No, you stand up and you say, you know what? I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to decline. Thank you very much. Period. Be firm, clear, and respectful. So don't send out a mixed message. And number 6. Most people are willing to respect your boundaries, but some are not. Be prepared to be firm about your boundaries when they are not being respected. If necessary, put up a fence by ending a relationship. Remember, it's okay for people to not like you. It's none of your business what they think of you. I know you've heard me say that a million times, but it's true. You need to like who you are and what you stand for and be okay with that. And honestly, as you do that, you're going to grow. Your self-worth is going to grow. You're going to value yourself more. You're not going to be apologetic for who you are. You're not going to be mean or condescending, but you're going to stand up for who you really are, and you're going to blossom and grow, and your light's going to grow, and people are going to see that. If someone can't respect your boundary, let them loose. They don't need to be in your courtyard or in your home. They don't need to be around you if they can't respect your boundaries. All right, 2 more. Learning to set healthy boundaries takes time. It is a process. It is a journey. It is a lifelong journey, just like I said before. You set boundaries when you're ready. It's your growth in your own time frame, not when someone else tells you. And if you need help setting boundaries, get help. Talk to a counselor, a friend, a trusted advisor, someone who can help you set those boundaries, who maybe has the skill set to do so if you feel like you need some help in that area. And finally, setting healthy boundaries allows your true self to emerge. Isn't that an exciting journey? That's what it's all about. When we're not in harmony with who we truly are, that's when we feel out of sorts. That's when we get down and discouraged and depressed and sad and trodden upon. So it's all about letting our true self emerge. Boundaries are a great way to do that. Boundaries are a blessing. Boundaries are our friends. So there's a few tips for you on setting healthy boundaries. If you want to go a step further, join me today for my group session where we're going to learn the 6 steps in setting a boundary and clean out all the energetic garbage that's in the way that's preventing us from doing so. So have a fabulous day. Keep those boundaries in check, and I will talk to you again soon.